Coast TV News, First Alert Meteorologist Chris Mastrobuono with this latest edition of Weather 101. And this week we are discussing the evolution of hurricane names. Yes, hurricane season begins, well, in 2 weeks here on the Atlantic, and we are going to be talking about how kind of these names are derived each year. You see the names get released. So there are 6 sets of names that rotate every 6 years. Now there are sets of names not only for the Atlantic hurricane basin, but also for the eastern North Pacific as well as the eastern Central Pacific. So there are different sets of names for each basin. Now these names are maintained and as well as updated by the WMO, that is the International Committee of World Meteorological Organization. Those names are then sent out to the National Hurricane Center, and then they are released to the general public. Now the names, if all the names in the set are used up, then we go to the Greek alphabet. Now that's usually not a good sign, which that pretty much is an indicator that we had a pretty bad or a pretty active hurricane season, and that actually happened twice back in 2005 and 2020. Now, you may know that if a hurricane is costly or deadly, that name is then retired and taken out of the list, and the WHMO is responsible for replacing that name on that list, that particular letter name that was in turn retired. So here is the list of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane names, and they begin with Andrea and end with Wendy. And you may say, well, how come they don't use the letters X, Q, Y, and Z? Well, according to the WMO, that is due in part because there aren't that many names that derive from those letters. So that is why the list, in fact, only goes up to W. So, with that said, hopefully we don't have too many names retired from this list this year, as we are anticipating an active season with potentially up to 3 to 5 major hurricanes being named in the Atlantic Basin. So we'll see how that goes coming up here in a week as we kick off hurricane season. So hopefully you're prepared and staying up to date with all the latest forecasts. And hope you enjoyed this edition of Weather 101, and we'll continue to see you on Coast TV News throughout the weekend and week.